In the past week alone, the headlines have exploded. Roc Nation accused. M.I.A speaking out, ritual rumors resurfacing. People think she's exaggerating, but they don't know the half of it. Because what the blogs missed, the plastic surgery demands, the black-goo baptism, the occult choreography, those weren't metaphors, they were instructions. And while the world argued online, I was there. I stood in the hallway the night they summoned her into the gold wing. I heard the chanting. I saw the envelope. I watched them drag her toward the room only insiders whisper about. The room they say decides who rises and who gets sacrificed. And if you're wondering whether the stories are real, let me tell you the truth. Every time one star breaks, Beyoncé's light gets brighter, and nobody ever asks where the extra shine comes from. I never meant to end up inside the gold wing of the Roc Nation Annex. Nobody does. Most employees don't even know it exists. When I got hired, they told me the building was just an artist development facility, a place where creatives could brainstorm without distraction. A quiet private tower tucked between two older buildings in Manhattan. No exterior logo. No windows on the lower floors. The kind of place you'd walk past 100 times without noticing. But the truth is, it's where they take artists when they want to decide who gets to rise and who gets eaten. I didn't know that at the time. I was only 3 months into my job as a legal aid. My badge scanned me into the lobby, the offices, and the document room, nothing more. I spent my days sorting contracts, redacting names, and filing NDAs that felt thicker than some entire court cases I studied in school. But the whispers started almost immediately. A music attorney once told me, "Don't explore the Annex alone, especially not the lower floors. You'll end up hearing something you can't unhear." I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. It was a Thursday night. Beyoncé's people were in the building for a closed-door meeting, which meant the whole floor felt wound tight, like it had swallowed a live wire. Staff were quieter. Security stood a little straighter. Even the air smelled different, like perfume and cold metal. I had stayed late to finish organizing deposition, files from one of the survivor lawsuits. I didn't like reading the details, but I couldn't deny the pattern. Every name circled the same 2 people. Every timeline lined up too neatly. Every missing page felt intentional. At 9:14 p.m., I heard raised voices down the hall. One voice I recognized immediately. M.I.A. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her relationship with Roc Nation had ended publicly, something bitter enough to trend, for a day before vanishing under a pile of PR distractions. But here she was, inside the Annex, and she sounded furious. I minded my business, but I didn't. I stepped out of the document room and followed the sound down the dim hallway toward the rehearsal wing, where the walls were thicker and the cameras conveniently didn't work. Her voice echoed before I even reached the corner. No plastic surgery. No choreography designed like an occult ceremony. No black-goo baptism. I'm not doing any of that. Do you understand me? My breath caught. I pressed myself against the wall, just out of sight. A male staffer tried to calm her. "It's symbolic, M.I.A. Everyone does it. It's just a rite of passage." "No." Her voice cracked like glass. "You're not listening. I don't do mock horns. I don't do devil imagery. I don't do your energy harvesting garbage. That's not my culture." I'm done explaining myself. I peeked around the corner. She stood in the middle of the hallway, wearing a long coat, her hair slightly messy, like she had been fighting for hours, facing 3 handlers and 2 security guards. But it was the security guards that made my stomach twist. They weren't just watching her, they were bracing. One guard's hand hovered near his earpiece. Another slid 1 foot back, not preparing to defend himself, but preparing to advance. Something was about to happen. The male staffer tried again. "You can't refuse this. It's part of the process. Every major artist goes through it." "Beyoncé herself." "Don't say her name to me," M.I.A snapped. "You won't guilt me with that. Everyone owes Beyoncé nonsense. I'm not joining your cult." A cold shock rolled down my spine. "Cults." She said it openly, fearlessly. She looked exhausted, but defiant, like a woman who had been fighting these people far longer than just tonight. Another staffer stepped forward. This one was a woman dressed in all black, holding a sleek white envelope. "Your access code," she said. "For the gold room. You're expected there tonight." M.I.A stared at the envelope like it was radioactive. "I'm not going anywhere near that room," she whispered. The woman's expression didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. A warning. "Everyone goes through the gold room," she replied. "It's how you stay protected." Protected. I knew that word didn't mean safety. It meant silence, compliance, possession. M.I.A shook her head. "You're out of your minds. I'm not giving my body to your rituals." I'm not letting your marine spirit queen drain my creativity. I'm not becoming another sacrifice. Sacrifice. I swallowed hard. My pulse hammered so loudly I had to check if the guards heard it. I took a silent step back, flattening myself deeper into the shadow against the wall. M.I.A kept going, her voice trembling with fury. Jay-Z told me the first thing I needed was plastic surgery. Who does that? Who tells an artist to carve up their face for a contract? And Beyoncé, your so-called goddess, wants us all bowing to her, playing Witch Underwater Falls. No thanks. I'm not killing myself for a record. The woman with the envelope lifted her chin. M.I.A, she said softly. You don't have a choice, she said. The Annex summoned you. A chill crawled up my spine. Summoned. People don't get summoned by a building, unless someone, or something, inside it has authority beyond contracts. Security shifted again. Quiet, controlled, like animals waiting for a signal. M.I.A must have sensed it too. She stepped back. If you touch me, I swear I will scream this entire operation into the public eye. The staffer sighed. Let's not make this difficult. M.I.A stormed past them and walked straight in my direction. I panicked. If she saw me, she'd know I was eavesdropping. If the staff saw me, I'd lose my job, or worse. I slipped into the nearest door without thinking, an unlocked storage room, and pressed myself against the shelves in the dark. I held my breath as footsteps approached. Security moved after her, slow, coordinated, like hunters tracking prey that already knows it's surrounded. Then a loose cable under my shoe shifted. Clink, a tiny, treacherous noise. I froze. The hallway went silent. Someone whispered, "Did you hear that?" A flashlight beam cut across the storage room's frosted glass panel. I didn't breathe, didn't blink, didn't move. A second passed, then another. Then, let it go, a voice muttered. We need to focus on her. Footsteps receded. I exhaled shakily. When I stepped back into the hallway 2 minutes later, they were gone. M.I.A, the security handlers, the envelope, the confrontation, all vanished deeper into the annex. And I knew, without meaning to, I had followed her into something I could never unsee, something the world was never meant to know. The Gold Room had summoned her, and now whether I liked it or not, it was summoning me too. I should have gone home. Every instinct inside me said, leave while you still can. Clock out. Forget you ever heard M.I.A raise her voice. Pretend this building is just an office and not a mouth waiting to swallow people whole. But curiosity is a kind of hunger, and the Annex knows how to feed it. The hallway ahead was dim, lit only by emergency strips, along the floor that glowed a sickly yellow, pointing deeper into the wing like runway lights for something landing just out of sight. I walked slowly, careful not to make any noise. The air here felt heavier, warmer. Breathing too fast made it feel thick, like inhaling through cloth. I passed a black door that was always locked during the day. Tonight it was cracked open an inch. A pulse of cold air slid across my skin. I glanced inside. It was some kind of staging room, stage props, lighting gels, fabric sheets, ritualistic crown-shaped headpieces stacked neatly in a corner, a pile of white veils, a rack of jet black outfits that didn't look like performance costumes. They looked ceremonial. A chill ran through me as I eased the door shut. Even the props felt wrong, almost like evidence. As I continued walking, the annex began to change. The carpet ended. The walls shifted from typical office drywall to smooth, polished concrete. Black, faintly reflective, almost glossy. A faint hum vibrated through the floor like a generator deep below. I'd never seen this part of the building before, and for some reason, I didn't think anyone was supposed to. The air smelled expensive, dark perfume, amber, and something faintly metallic, like wet iron. My badge didn't open any of the doors here, but I wasn't trying doors. I was following voices. I turned a corner just in time to see M.I.A again. She walked fast, almost stumbling, her coat half sliding off her shoulder as she tried to pull it tighter around herself. 2 handlers followed close behind, murmuring threats disguised as polite direction. You're overreacting, one said. This is protection, said another. You should feel honored. Honored. I hated that word. It kept showing up in survivors' depositions, always italicized, always attached to something awful. M.I.A ignored them. Then she stopped suddenly. So suddenly, one handler bumped into her. No, she said. I'm going home. You can't, the woman whispered sharply. The Gold Room is prepared. I don't care, M.I.A said. I'm not walking into your spell chamber. I'm not letting your goddess drain me dry because her creativity is running out. One of the security guards tensed. His radio crackled once and the sound froze everyone. I held my breath. Do not say her name like that, One handler hissed. Why? Will she appear? M.I.A snapped, voice rising. Is that how your queen works now? The handler stepped forward and slapped her. The sound echoed down the hallway. I flinched. M.I.A stumbled. Security shifted. Then she laughed. Not because it was funny, because something inside her finally snapped. That's it? That's your power? She spat. A slap! You think that's going to make me worship your idol? You think your rituals scare me? She stepped closer to the handler, lowering her voice. I grew up in a war zone. I've seen real demons. Your little gold room doesn't terrify me. For a moment, just one moment, I thought she might get away. But then the handler holding the white envelope leaned in. Her voice softened, almost maternal, like a mother whispering reassurance to a child. M.I.A, the Annex heard you. You can't leave now. Mia's face changed. A single crack of fear, pure silent panic. Don't say that, she whispered. You know it's true, the handler murmured. The room was activated the second your badge scanned the outer lobby. It's been preparing itself for you all night. Preparing itself. Rooms don't prepare themselves unless they're designed for something not human, something that feeds. Mia's breathing quickened. I'm not going, she repeated. But there was less fire in it now, only exhaustion. Let me out of here. I didn't agree to this. I never agreed. You agreed when you signed the contract, the handler said. Maya's face twisted. I didn't sign up for witchcraft. You signed up for fame, the handler corrected. This is what it costs. Then she lifted the white envelope again. But this time I saw what was inside. A gold keycard, thin, unmarked. The edges glowed faintly, as if lit from within. It didn't look like normal access. It looked sentient. M.I.A recoiled like it burned her. No, take that away from me. You're already expected, the handler replied. The gold room is open. That was when security grabbed her arms. Not violently, almost gently, but firm. M.I.A screamed. The sound wasn't loud. It was sharp, short, almost strangled. Not like fear. Like betrayal. She kicked, twisted, tried to tear her arms free, her voice cracking as she fought. Let me go. Let me go. The guards didn't react emotionally. They moved like men carrying out a protocol. One pinned her shoulder. Another grabbed her wrist and pressed something against the back of her neck. A device. She stiffened instantly. Her entire body locked up. Her eyes widened in terror. Her knees buckled. Then she went quiet. Not unconscious, just still, paralyzed. I covered my mouth with my hand. Every instinct screamed, run, 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 run! But I stayed frozen. The handler stepped forward and brushed a strand of hair gently out of M.I.A.'s face. That's better, she whispered. Let's not make this any harder. M.I.A tried to speak. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. The guard lifted her under the arms. Her feet dragged limply across the floor. They carried her toward a black elevator at the end of the hall. I had never seen it before. No buttons, no indicators. Just a seamless black door with a faint gold edge. The moment they reached it, the door opened on its own. A warm golden light spilled out, soft, pulsing, almost breathing. The handlers stepped inside with her. The doors began to close. Before the last sliver sealed shut, I saw a glimpse of the room. Just a flash, gold, mirrors, symbols on the walls, and something or someone standing in the center. A figure, tall, motionless, waiting. Then the elevator closed. Silence. A silence so complete it felt like the building itself was holding its breath. My knees nearly buckled. I pressed a hand against the cold concrete wall to steady myself. I should leave. I should forget everything. I should walk out of the Annex and never come back. But then the elevator's golden seam blinked. A pulse of light. Not an error, an invitation. And I realized something then. That room wasn't just summoning M.I.A. It had noticed me, and it wasn't done. I stared at the elevator long after the golden pulse faded from its edge. Everything in me said, turn around, leave, pretend this night never happened. Pretend I never saw M.I.A. dragged toward a room that opened on its own. Pretend this building, my workplace, wasn't behaving like something alive. Then the pulse came again, a soft blink of gold, almost like a wink, and then ding. The door slid open. I hadn't touched anything. A warm breath of air rolled out of the elevator, like the sigh of something waking up. I stepped back instinctively, but my heels scraped loudly against the floor. The elevator didn't react. It simply waited. I swallowed hard. No, I whispered. I'm not going down there. But the Annex had other plans. Already decided for me. A whisper of sound drifted upward from the depths of the shaft. Not screaming. Not talking, chanting. Rhythmic, low, a pulse under the concrete. I felt myself moving before I made the choice. One step, another, a third. By the fourth step, I was inside. The doors closed behind me with a soft hiss. There were no buttons inside, just a single gold panel, smooth, unmarked, glowing with a dull warmth. My reflection stared back at me from the mirrored walls. Only the reflection didn't move in perfect sync. It lagged half a second behind, just enough to make my spine crawl. The elevator began to descend. Not with the mechanical jolt of normal elevators, but with a weightless glide, as if I had stepped into something liquid, something floating. The chanting grew louder. Whispers slid along the walls, too soft to understand, too sharp to ignore. Signed, agreed, offered, chosen. I pressed myself into a corner. "Stop," I whispered. "Stop, stop, stop." But the elevator didn't stop. The lights dimmed. The air warmed. My reflection exhaled before I did. Then the elevator slowed to a crawl and stopped with a soft ceremonial chime. The doors opened. The hallway outside was nothing like the Annex above. The air was thick with warm fog scented like honey and incense. Gold-trimmed lights lined the floor. Mirrors covered the walls, reflecting infinite slivers of movement, shadows shifting behind shadows. It felt like walking inside a throat, a long, warm, breathing passage. And somewhere at the end of it, M.I.A.'s voice, faint, strained, "Don't let them touch my head." I froze. Another voice, one of the handlers, whispered back, almost cooing, "It won't hurt. That's just the activation. Just breathe." No, 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 no. I should not be here. But my feet kept moving, slow and silent, guided by fear and something else. Some compulsion I couldn't explain. Like the building's heartbeat was syncing with mine. The mirrors seemed to watch me pass. I caught glimpses of myself in every panel, my face. Then a flicker of gold light. Then my face again, but wrong. Eyes too wide, shoulders angled differently. A split-second misalignment. I stopped breathing again. The reflection blinked twice. I only blinked once. Halfway down the hall, I saw a door cracked open. No label, just a gold symbol engraved into black metal. A shape I didn't recognize but instantly disliked. 3 intersecting lines forming a crown-like structure with a circle beneath it. Curiosity pulled me closer. Inside was a circular chamber, a preparation room. I only peeked for a second, but it was enough. A raised platform sat in the center, carved with faintly glowing symbols. Bowls of thick black goo steamed on pedestals. White veils and gold-chained headdresses hung from hooks like skins waiting for bodies. 2 staff members in robes, not costumes, robes, moved around the room with slow, practiced precision. And on the far wall, a handler whispered to someone unseen, "Beyoncé arrives when the vessel is ready." My stomach dropped. Not the artist. Not the performer. "The vessel," I gasped, soft, small, and instantly regretted it. One of the robed figures paused, their head turning slowly, too slowly, like they were listening with something deeper than ears. I jerked back into the hallway and pressed myself behind a structural column. My chest hammered so violently I waited for it to echo through the floor. The robed staffer stepped into the hallway, silent, bare feet on polished concrete. They stopped inches from my hiding place, sniffing the air as if smelling something wrong. My throat seized. I forced myself not to exhale. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, they turned and drifted away down another corridor. I didn't move until their footsteps vanished entirely. I hadn't meant to get this close. I hadn't meant to see the gold room open again, the golden seam widening, like an eye adjusting to light, breathing warm air into the hallway as if it were alive. But the moment it sensed me, I felt it. Like something inside the room inhaled, and found a new scent. It wanted to taste. Mine. The chanting inside stopped. Not slowly, instantly, like someone flipped a switch. Then a woman's voice said, "Someone's watching." My heart seized. I tried to step back, but the floor suddenly felt soft, warm, like skin, and the door opened wider, just enough for me to see inside. I should have run. I should have shut my eyes, but instead I looked. And that was the real mistake. The gold room was shaped like a dome, every surface reflective. Not mirrors, something older. Polished metal carved with thousands of symbols I couldn't read. Bowls of black liquid lined the edges, steaming even though the air was cold. Water dripped from above, a thin rain falling from no source I could see. Screens flashed thunder, lightning, crashing waves, like the whole chamber was tuned to some ocean spirit I couldn't understand. And in the center was the goat-headed statue, massive gold, polished so bright it reflected itself 1,000 times into the walls. 2 horns curved upward like crescents, the tips glowing white-hot. At its base, strapped to a golden frame, was M.I.A. Her eyes were wide, her breathing shallow, her wrists raw and bleeding against the restraints. But she was conscious. She locked eyes with me. I froze. She didn't scream for help. She didn't beg. She just looked at me the way drowning people look at someone who can't swim. A warning. And then Beyoncé stepped forward. She didn't walk, she flowed. The golden rain parted around her. Her arms moved like she was dancing with something behind her. Something taller. Hidden, guiding her body in slow ritualistic arcs. Her eyes were pitch black, but the skin around them glowed like heated metal. She didn't look human. She looked anointed. Everyone in the room turned toward her at the same time. M.I.A spat through clenched teeth. I'm not bowing. I'm not a witch. I'm not part of this. Beyoncé didn't respond immediately. She just tilted. She tilted her head, almost curious. Then she spoke, calm even, ageless. Then something must be given. A wind rose from the floor. Shadows peeled off the walls like strips of black fabric and floated upward. The bowls of water trembled. The black liquid began swirling on its own. The air vibrated so hard I felt it in my teeth. M.I.A screamed, not from pain, but from realization. Something, some invisible force pushed into her, like hands digging into her ribs, reaching for something beneath bone and blood. The lights went white-hot, so bright I couldn't see her face, only her silhouette thrashing violently against the frame. Then her body slumped. The vibrating stopped. The shadows sank back into the walls. The lights dimmed, and Beyoncé's face emerged softly from the glow. She was radiant, breathing slowly, eyes half closed like she had just finished feeding. That's when I felt breath on the back of my neck. Slow, warm. A man's voice whispered, "Someone always pays the price." I turned. Jay-Z stood inches behind me. I hadn't heard him approach. I hadn't felt the floor shift. It was like he had materialized from the air. His eyes weren't black like hers. They were normal, and somehow that was worse. He wasn't possessed. He was participating. His hand brushed my shoulder gently, almost kindly. "You weren't forgotten," he murmured. "You were next." The gold room pulsed behind me. The golden rain began falling harder. I ran. I don't remember deciding to move. My body acted before my mind caught up. I burst into the hallway, slipping on the wet floor, slamming my knee so hard I saw stars. But I kept running. The hallway stretched unnaturally long like rubber pulling. Lights flickered violently. Water ran up the walls instead of down. The air behind me warped with each step, like waves chasing my ankles. And behind me, Beyoncé's silhouette moved. Not walking, not running, sliding, effortless, smooth, wrong. The chanting started again, louder this time, faster. Like the room was angry, like it wanted me back. I slammed into the stairwell door. It wouldn't open. I threw my shoulder into it, once, twice. The chanting grew closer. A wave of water rolled down the ceiling toward me. I screamed and rammed the door a third time. It flew open, sending me tumbling down the first flight of stairs. My knee buckled. My ribs throbbed. I couldn't breathe, but I kept moving. I didn't stop until I crashed through the ground-level door and fell onto the Manhattan sidewalk. People stared. My chest heaved. My hands shook. Black water dripped from my clothes onto the pavement. I looked back. The hallway behind me was dry. No water, no chanting, no lights, just a normal office. Quiet, innocent, like the Gold Room had never existed. Months later, I saw M.I.A. again. Not dead, not injured, but hollow. Her eyes had no fire. Her voice had no edge. Her presence, once electric, felt dimmed, like someone had blown out a flame inside her. She didn't recognize me at first. When she finally did, she pulled me aside and she whispered, "They took my fire, my voice, my place." Her hands trembled. That's the sacrifice. That same year, Beyoncé released new music. Powerful, sharp, cutting with an edge that felt familiar. An edge that didn't belong to her. The truth hit me like a train. They didn't kill M.I.A. They harvested her. And me? I still hear the hum at night. I still see rain sliding down my bathroom walls. Every time Beyoncé's name is mentioned, I feel something shift behind me, like the Gold Room is waiting for me to look back. The worst part isn't what I saw that night. It's knowing the ritual never ended. Because every time a star falls, she rises.